Now, I'm all for keeping my feet on the ground and all, but when that ground can transform himself into a rolling tank, and he has those giant drills, well, that's just another thing altogether. That said, I don't think Groundman stage is too terribly tough if you remember the old proverb that Base himself said at the end of Mega Man 7, that being, he who hesitates is lost, and you don't want to do that in this stage. In fact, you can weave your way on down this sandy shaft left and right without really having to fire a single shot if you know what you're doing. At the time I didn't, because it was still early in the playthrough. Same thing goes for the worms. I don't have to attack these guys, but, you know, just want to make sure you get the hang of that double tap dash. For the Centipede Stampede impeding your progress, or at least trying to, well, all the weapons we've won so far are perfect for taking these guys out. Now granted, if you go Buster only into this stage, I would recommend, yes, finding the alcoves to stay in and letting them pass, but again, we can push the ice wall into them, we can burn them up with the wave burner, and we've also got a third weapon that we just won last time that's very handy on these guys too, but we really don't want to waste it on them because there's someone else I have the remote mine in mind for. That certainly doesn't look like a trap. Oh, what do you know? It was a trap. And here comes the mother of all centipedes herself, Mother Mukamukade. Or is it Mukamukade? Ah, who cares? Instead of trying to use our base buster, let's just stick the remote mine to her face and blast her away in no time, because otherwise it's going to take you a long time to whittle away that 96 bars of health. Oh, is it ever. But we're not going to worry about that in Base's run, because this is supposed to be the easy mode run where we take every advantage that we can. Unfortunately, one advantage that we can't take is sliding under these attacker enemies like we could with Mega, so you'll have to stop and pop them. Also make sure to stop before you climb this ladder, because it's very easy to run yourself into that last attacker thanks to the Game Boy Advance's limited vertical vision here. As for Joe, you've seen the strategy with Mega of letting the platforms fall to send him down a level. We've got Ice Law, so I just pushed it into him instead. Now then, as for the spike column section, we're not going to deal with that, because you can see down here, there's a split secret path. In our first little treasure chest, nice little extra life. In our second treasure chest, there's also something good, but we'll worry about that for the next video. You gotta watch out for some treasure chests, though, in this area, because, well, they're kind of fakes, and they will latch onto you and try to drain your health. In any case, once you get done with that, you are finished with the side path, put back into the dig mole room, the very last room of the level. It wants you to take things at a brisk pace without stopping, at least until you get to Joe. And now, actually, now that I think about it as Base, I bet I could just dash double jump over that guy and all the way to the shutter. But it's not a big deal. I'm using Wave Burner, which is just effective on all the enemies here. And we still made it safely without a scratch. And let's go see if we can keep that streak up as we go into the shutter to face Groundman himself. I have one big issue with this fight, and that's when he goes up into the ceiling to use his big drill attack. Because I have to use the double tap dash in the Game Boy Advance version. Obviously, if you're playing the Super Famicom one, this isn't an issue. You can stick the remote mine to his body, and that'll prevent him from going up into or under the soil if it latches on in time. And while Base can jump the twin drill spread, if it splits up into the mini ones, you have to really be careful. Because if you aren't fast enough and Groundman shoots it at just the right angle, you aren't going to be able to jump over or dash under it. Kind of a frustrating thing, but as you can see, it's a pretty quick fight if you use his weakness. And I'm pretty sure I didn't give Groundman much of a chance in this one just to ensure the no-hit run that was a little tricky until I figured it out. Them's the breaks, big guy, but you know the drill. It's time for you to give me your weapons so that I can know the drill too. Whoosh. Spread Drill's a good weapon for Mega Man since he can only aim his shots straight forward and can't really reach enemies below or too far above him, but Base, he doesn't have that problem with his buster, so that kind of makes this weapon a bit redundant. In fact, come to think of it, I don't think I really use it all that much outside of for bosses that it's effective on. Whoops! Thankfully, one of the two stages we unlocked by defeating Groundman will let us see that spread drill in action, and it's one I've been wanting to get to for a long time now. Tengu Man, you may have been flying high after you humiliated me in my practice run way back when, but now I think it's about time for me to return the favor. Next time, you go from soaring to sore loser. See you then.